Hi, folks. Gary here, and hope all is well with you. Well, we're more than halfway through 2025, and summer has officially started. So let's take a look and see what's happening in North Vancouver real estate. Okay, so let's start with sales. So that's going to be the demand side. For detached homes, we had 67 sales in June, which is about the same as the same month last year, but 28% below the 10-year average and 17% below month over month. With the apartments, 85 sales, that was about 17.5% fewer than same month last year, and 22% below the 10-year average, and about the same as what we saw in May. And then with townhouses, there were 41 sales registered. That's about 8% lower than the same month last year and 5% below the 10-year average, plus 24% in the month over month. Okay, looking at new listings, there were 204 new detached listings. That's about 26% more than year over year and 11% above the 10-year average and about 5% fewer than month over month. With apartments, we saw 209 new listings. That was about 2% lower than same month last year and 12% above the 10-year average and about 16% fewer than month over month. And then with townhouses, there were 95 new listings, about 25% more than we saw in 1 year ago, and 40% above the 10-year average, with about 13% more than month over month. So that brings us to total listings. For apartments, there were 456 listed at the end of March, or at the end of June, and that was 28% more than year over year and about 52% above the 10-year average. So lots more listings, although it did drop down from the previous month. With detached, there were 419 listed. So that was about 37% above the year over year and 22% above the 10-year average. And then finally with townhouses, there are 165. That's 22% above the year over year and about 65% above the 10-year average. And then looking at what's happening with prices, detached, the HPI price came up a little over 2.2 million. So that was 3.9% drop from year over year and about a 4% increase over the last 6 months. Townhouses came in at 1.352. That's about a 2.6% decrease year over year and about 3.1% increase in the last 6 months. And with apartments, the benchmark price was just over 817,000. So that's down about 0.8% in the past year and up about 2.7% in the last 6 months. Okay, so there you have it, sort of more of the same, more of a slow market. And the usual active spring market never did arrive. So we'll have to see what comes next with that. But for buyers, they're in a very good position. Mortgage interest rates have gone down about 2% in the last year. So that makes things more affordable for them. We've got a very abundant supply of listings and prices have eased. So buyers, what are you doing out there? So hope you enjoyed the video and hope you have a great summer. And I'll see you again in 1 month. Take care.